Before I jump into today's topic on the Vesve Forest, I thought I'd show a quick item that was sent to me by one of the supporters of my channel, Mark Clover. He contacted me and asked if I would want this lovely Larry Elmore artwork postcard sent from Lake Geneva itself in commemoration of the 50th anniversary with a canceled D&D stamp. I said absolutely. So his message is happy 50th D&D anniversary from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, the birthplace of D&D. And I just wanted to say thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciate this. This is going into a frame that I have bought for it, and will be proudly on my shelves by my D&D books. So I want to thank you for thinking of me and sending it my way, and I really appreciate it. Happy 50th anniversary of D&D to you as well. Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at an important part, to me anyway, of the world of Greyhawk. It's the Vesve Forest. It's a little north and west of Furiandi, and Kingdom of Furiandi I've covered before on the channel, is of course the home of my personal campaign and has been for decades. And so the Vesve has been used a lot in my game. So I thought we'd take a look at it a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about how I've used it. But the information I'm going to be using today is not going to come from the Ashes. From the Ashes had some nice stuff to it, but that was a little too... I use one everything for some of the stuff pertaining to Furiandi. I took over a good chunk of the Vesve Forest and still controls a lot of it. It's not how I play it in my game, and so I'm going to do more that's reflected out of this book, and that's how the Vesve Forest is in my campaign currently. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And I'm going to cut away to the map now, and we're going to talk about the Vesve Forest. All right, the Vesve Forest. One of the biggest forests, if not the biggest, in the Flanus main body. The Amadeo Jungle, or Medio Jungle, however you say it, and Hetmonaland, both are larger, of course. But the Vesve is huge. So we're going to take a look at a little bit about what the 1983 Gold Box set has to say about the Vesve. Vesve Forest is a population of 20,000. There are 10,000 Sylvan Elves, 6,000 Gnomes, 3,000 High Elves, and Halflings, no number given. Humanoids, Hobgoblins are 5,000, and Gnolls are 3,000. Vesve is a large hardwood forest, largest hardwood forest in all of the Flanus. Its southern half, as well as a strip down the borders called upon the Sepia Hills, and the Klatspurs down to High Folk Town are relatively free of baneful creatures, although inhabited by a fair share of predators. Since the resurgence of Ayus, however, the northern quarter of the Vesve is filled with hateful settlements of evil humanoids, and these tribes and bands press everywhere upon the human and demi-human folk elsewhere in these woods. Rangers and light troops from Furiandi aid the High Folk in organized expeditions to check the influx of humanoids and drive them out, but fresh hordes from the spawning grounds of Ayus are apparently endlessly available to replace those slaughtered by such punitive forces, and a war of attrition will doom the good folk of the Vesve. It is expected that each side will certainly make a major attempt to settle the issue soon. And that's kind of where the Greyhawk Wars came in, and Ayus' surge to power and taking over the Horn Society and Bandit Kingdoms and all kinds of stuff, the Wolf Nomads. And Ayus took over a lot of stuff, and he became the main boogeyman in the Flanus, kind of the Sauron of the Flanus. He's always kind of filled that role. But I don't let the Vesve become Ayus' little puppet state. I leave the Vesve as an area fighting for its freedom. I certainly have Ayus and his evil forces working in the Vesve, and I've done many, many games, one just recently, where the party was dealing with an incursion from Ayus coming further down the coastline of the Whitestill Lake in the Vesve, and that was a game I ran a few weeks ago. But for the most part, the Vesve is just a very rough woodland, and it has lots of demi-humans, lots of humanoids, lots of humans living in it, and it is absolutely a place of contention with the forces of Ayus, plus other nasty stuff that's in there. One great thing about the Vesve is pretty much anything you want to put in there, Ankegs, Boulé, Griffins, Hippogriffs, Displacer Beasts, anything you want to put, you can put in the Vesve easily. They could easily lair there or have business in the Vesve, and it's not going to really hurt anything. I like that the Vesve itself sits not too far from Perrinland, which is, if you look to the left of the Vesve, there's Perrinland. That, of course, is the area that was famously ruled by Ayu's mom, Igwil, for a while, until she got overthrown. And that's a story for another day. But it's neat that you've got Perrinland right there, and it's a human settlement now, and it always was, but it's a human-free settlement now along Lake Quag. And I have them interacting with the Vesve a little bit too. So that's kind of the connection between like Perrinland and the Kingdom of Furiandi in my campaign, is through the Vesve Forest. So the Vesve can be very, very important. It can be, it's referred to in one of Gygax's novels as a highway for the forces of Ayus, where they can pass unseen, mass for an attack, and then come in to attack. Certainly in the Greyhawk Wars, in the lore, the town of Crockport, the city of Crockport at the tip of the Wystall Lake, was attacked from the Vesve, as well as the Wystall Lake itself, by the forces of Ayus, and it was under siege and conquered eventually. That didn't happen in my campaign. In my campaign, Crockport always remained a free city. It was definitely under siege, but I did a game where the forces came in and relieved Crockport. My players were part of that action. That was a really good game too. And then using the southern tip of the Vesve, right near the southern tip, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There's Crockport, and you see Shendel. Shendel is the capital of Furiandi. And having Shendel relatively close, less than 60 miles from the Vesve Forest, has played an important role in my campaign also. I have a lot of action that has come out of the Vesve Forest or retreated to the Vesve Forest in dealing with Shendel. I've had envoys from Ayus come down through the Vesve Forest and make their way to Shendel for treaties or whatever kind of peace talks or anything that's going on to fill my game at that moment. So the Vesve is a very important part of Greyhawk for me, and it has been. The other part of Vesve that I really like is its proximity, of course, to the Kingdom of Furiandi, and Kingdom of Furiandi is just across the Near Div from Greyhawk City itself. So that's kind of the heartland of the continent, and that's been the heart of my campaign. It's been Greyhawk City, the Kingdom of Furiandi, and surrounding environment. Oddly enough, I've done very, very little in Voluna. Voluna is just down a little bit. I'm going to cover Voluna sometime soon, but I have not done much in Voluna. I've done quite a bit in Selene and some in the Ulix, but not a ton. But I like Furiandi because it's got such proximity to all this other stuff. And today, of course, I'm taking a look at the Vesve Forest. I've done a lot of the surrounding lands. I have not forgotten about the Horn Society or Shield lands. Those will be coming up in the future. And again, I'm just going to say where they are in my campaign. I realize in canon things are very, very different, but it's my campaign. You know, every DM goes ahead and makes their own choices for their own campaign, and that's what I do. My players have really enjoyed it. They've enjoyed having Furiandi as their home base for the last 40 plus years, and will continue to do so. But there you have it. That's a quick look at the Vesve Forest. Let me know what interactions you've had in the Vesve, or is it something that's on the periphery of your campaign? You've never really used it. Maybe you've changed things up a little bit. Maybe there's a bunch of hill giants that live along the western edge of it. I have done that personally. But that's all I've got today on page 121. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching. Please take a look at the Patreon. See if you can help me out there. Please leave your comments below. I would appreciate if the comments were kept very polite. I've been getting a little beaten up on comments lately. I don't want to edit comments. I don't like to do that. But I also don't feel that anything personal should ever be brought out and commented on something like this. So that's all I ask, is just common courtesy. But there you have it. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on page 121.